Senators might be interested to know why I'm choosing to speak on this one. This is a 30-year agreement that the Australian government is signing by treaty with the United States for our uranium exports, and it's something that occasionally I'm asked why we speak out about uranium exports to China or to Russia, or whether material is making its way to Iran, but don't always take on the issue of uranium exports to a country like the United States, where there is at least formal distinction between the civil and military nuclear arms. The fact also, I think, that this does lock us into a 30-year commercial arrangement that can't be renegotiated, I think is interesting just in itself, no matter what commodity at stake. That 30 years, that's going to take us into very interesting times. The US is our largest uranium customer, and one of the reasons for that is that peak uranium in the US occurred some time ago. The United States had extensive uranium mining, caused an extraordinary amount of harm, particularly in the southwest, and worked out many of their deposits, and now they are our largest uranium customer. The agreement, which has just gone through the Joint Standing Committee on Treaties, which we're discussing tonight, locks us into a 30-year treaty arrangement with the United States on these exports. As I said, this is not China or Russia. The United States has had a formal distinction between the civil and military nuclear arms for quite some time. It's obviously a porous border. It is the same technology being used for different ends, but there is a regulatory system in the US that holds a distinction between civil and military nuclear weapons industries. Most of us in this chamber, I think, and most citizens of the world believe that nuclear weapons are obscene and should be abolished. But obviously there are much stronger differences of opinion around uranium mining. We're seeing the ALP now grappling with this issue. The Conservative side of politics made its mind up quite some time ago, as did the Greens. This naturally treaty arrangement locks us into commercial uranium sales with the United States. The debate internationally is changing, and I think even if some MPs have an open mind about uranium, the debate certainly is changing. I just want to draw senators' attention to a resolution that was passed at the September 2010 Congress of the Nobel Prize-winning organisation International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War, who are on the side, I think, of most world citizens in seeking the abolition of nuclear weapons. They've never before, to my knowledge, taken a strong position on the issue of uranium mining. This is the resolution. These are doctors and health practitioners who have dedicated part of their work to prevention rather than cure, prevention of the use of nuclear weapons in civil or military applications. They passed the following motion last September. Uranium ore mining and the production of uranium oxide are irresponsible and represent a grave threat to health and to the environment. Both processes involve an elementary violation of human rights, and their use leads to an incalculable risk for world peace and an obstacle to nuclear disarmament. That is fairly strong language. I have no doubt that some in this building at least will simply disregard the words of these health professionals. I think we disregard them at our peril. Minister Martin Ferguson, some of his colleagues, and some folks on the Conservative benches, and all the others, MPs and advocates, who are hitching your political fortunes to this most volatile and dangerous of industries, should be warned and should listen to the words of these health professionals. This is an industry, even if every kilogram of this material is meticulously tracked and kept out of nuclear weapons, and heaven knows the US has an enormous stockpile of fissile material, even though it's not producing much more at the moment. Even if every kilogram goes exclusively into civil nuclear energy in the United States, which is obviously one of the first countries to adopt this technology, there are very serious problems with tying ourselves to this industry. If you get a nuclear power station wrong and you have a bad day, you have to evacuate millions of people who can then never return. People assume that 3 Mile Island was a near miss and that Chernobyl was just a one-off that occurred in Russia. In the limited time I've got left, I just wanted to mention one near miss much, much more recently in the United States in 2002, which is something that I suspect most people probably haven't heard of. First Energy, an Ohio electric utility, was allowed to drive the deteriorating Davis-Besse nuclear power station dangerously close to a catastrophic accident. The regulators in the US had been persuaded to delay inspections of a vital safety component beyond a requested deadline, shutdown in order to accommodate the industry, rather than forcing an early shutdown to get inside the plant and see what was going on. And as it happened, they eventually shut the reactor down, got inside there and realised that a 6 inches of carbon steel on top of the pressure vessel had been eaten away by boric acid, and they had nearly lost that plant. A nuclear power station is a pressure cooker containing 200 or 300 tonnes of fissioning uranium, and if you have a bad day at one of those plants, people can never go back. This is the industry that we are in, and I don't think whether it be the United States, the enormous rapid build that's being undertaken in China at the moment, or any of the other countries that we trade this material to, people who think that this industry has its benign face and its military face and that they're somehow separate, we need, I think, to pay very, very close attention to the record of this industry, not what it's promising to do, but what it has done and what it is doing today. There are no second chances with this unforgiving technology. This is an industry that we should be getting out of rather than getting ourselves any further into. Thank the Senate.